Hey everybody, it's your boy AJ Trip. Got another reaction video for you. 25 worst pains humans can experience from our good friends over at List 25. Let's go ahead and let's check this out.
What is the human body's pain tolerance? What is the worst pain known to medical science? These are both good questions. We've all wondered things like how much pain can a body take before death? Well, today we're going to answer those questions. These are the 25 worst pains humans can experience. Let's start out with the betrayal of your own body. Gout, for example, is basically an acute and intense onset of arthritis, and it is not to be messed with. It used to be called the rich man's disease because a wealthy diet was one of the causes. These days, however, it's become more common in the West. Thanks, McDonald's. Next, we have abscesses. They can occur anywhere on the body, but tooth abscesses are typically the most painful because they're so close to a huge number of nerves. Due to tooth decay, bacteria sets in and causes immense pain. The infection can even spread to the rest of the face, cause terrible fevers, and in some cases, death. Pro tip, brush your teeth.
Yeah.
The fun of the body's weaknesses don't stop there, though. The Achilles is the strongest and largest tendon in the body, so when it breaks, it hurts. People even say it feels like being shot in the back of the foot. Great. Moving on, let's talk about peritonitis peritoneum, which is a thin lining that covers much of the inside of your abdomen. And when it gets inflamed, get ready. Caused by a leakage of the intestines, the pain is unreal. The condition is so bad that if left untreated, it's almost always fatal. As horrible as some of these have sounded so far, count yourself lucky, because not everything on this list has the potential to happen to you. Well, at least if your parent's not an anti-vaxxer. I'm of course talking about tetanus. Tetanus is one of the most painful things that can happen to your body. It's also known as lockjaw because your muscles start spasming and lock up. People who don't have the vaccine often have to be placed on emergency breathing machines. Get vaccinated, people. I even got vaccines for tetanus when I jumped on some rusty nails doing List 25. Tristan, if you want to throw that clip up, you're more than welcome to. Let's move on to all the things that can go wrong with your head. Post-dural puncture headache, also known as a spinal headache, is one of the worst head pains a human can experience. Basically, your meninges, one of the most sensitive parts of your body, are affected. It's a common side effect of spinal anesthesia. The worst part is that movement can make it worse. Common symptoms are hearing loss, vertigo, nausea, dizziness, and extreme pain. It's been described as, quote, searing and spreading like hot metal. Now, have any of you heard of trigeminal neuralgia? For those of you who've never had issues with your trigeminal nerve, be thankful. This nerve is responsible for supplying sensations to the face, mucous membranes, and other structures in the head. Sufferers of this condition say it's like being struck in the head by lightning. Who knows, though? Lightning may actually be preferred next to cluster headaches. Unlike migraines or tension headaches, cluster headaches occur almost directly behind the eyeball. They get their name because they occur in groups over a period of several weeks, usually at night. They also come with the cute little nickname of suicide headaches because the pain is almost unbearable. Some people say it feels like a stick is being jammed through your eyeball and into your brain. Fun. Moving on to the lower part of the body, consider the gonadal torsion. Whether it's the testes or the ovaries, torsion typically involves twisting of the gonads, reproductive glands, that cuts off their blood supply. And yes, it's just as painful as it sounds, and often requires surgery in order to save the gonad. But that's not all the horrible things that can happen down there. Don't leave out penile fracture. Every guy knows what this is, and it hurts just as much as you think it does. That sounds like I know that from personal experience. Thanks for writing it that way. Taking place in a similar area, we now have kidney stones. Now, these don't really need any introduction, as I'm sure you're all aware of how painful they can be. Hopefully not from experience. But if you already think kidney stones are bad, get this. The largest stone ever removed from a human was 6 inches wide. And for those of you who don't know, even the smallest stones are incredibly painful. They can cause fever, vomiting, and blood in the urine. So, now we have pains in the head, the upper body, and lower body. How about the entire body? Derkham's disease consists of numerous painful tumors that grow on the patient's body. The tumors can be extremely sensitive to touch and temperature, so even taking a shower can be excruciating. Staying on the topic of having pain in all sorts of places, we have complex regional pain syndrome. Basically, your body's pain receptors go crazy and cause intense swelling and pain, usually on the limb. The pains tend to get worse over time, and there is no cure. In fact, sometimes it gets so bad that the only solution is to amputate. Pro tip, stop smoking. Apparently, smokers tend to get this disease. So far, I've talked about pain I wouldn't wish upon anybody, but sometimes it comes with growth and life. But that doesn't make childbirth any more enjoyable. It's been long accepted that childbirth is one of the most painful things you can experience. Some people say that it feels like your organs are being ripped out. So, not fun, but it can also be beautiful. And speaking of beautiful experiences, let's explore road rash. Similar to burns, which you'll hear about momentarily, this is insanely painful. Having the top layer of your skin gone and your nerves damaged is no fun at all. But arguably, second-degree burns might be worse. See, I told you I'd get to them. Now, I'm sure you're probably thinking, what about third-degree burns? Aren't those worse? Well, yes, they are. But third-degree burns are so bad that even your nerves are damaged, so you can't feel anything at all. Second-degree burns are where the pain is at. They're bad enough to hurt, but not so bad that your nerves got singed. All right, that's it. I'm done talking about all the horrible things that can happen to your body.
Oh, no. Never mind.
Through diseases and injuries, anyway.
Yeah.
Did you know that animals also want to kill you? Not only that, they want to kill you on land and in the ocean. The stonefish, commonly found in the coastal regions of the Indo-Pacific, are one of the most venomous fish known to man. Often confused with stones below the surface of the water, people sometimes accidentally step on them. Depending on how much pressure is applied, will determine how much venom gets injected. Unfortunately, it doesn't take much for the sting to be fatal. And as a note, even if it's not fatal, the victim typically experiences excruciating pain, nausea, convulsions, and vomiting. If you keep swimming, you might just get to live through Irukandji syndrome. This is a condition induced by the sting of the Irukandji jellyfish, go figure, along with other types of jellyfish, that's often found off the coast of Australia. Shocking. Besides being incredibly painful, an unusual effect of the jellyfish's venom is an intense feeling of impending doom. In fact, some patients even beg their doctor to just kill them and get it over with. It can take up to several weeks for the symptoms to recede, assuming proper medical attention. But yes, things aren't that much better on land. Since you were young, I'm sure you feared the possibility of a bear attack, right? Particularly polar bears. Those things are mean. However, that doesn't mean black bears and grizzlies are any less dangerous.
Yeah.
They've been known to seriously injure people, leave them for dead, and then come back later to finish the job. Talk about painful. And yet, a creature doesn't have to be the size of a bear to inflict a serious amount of pain. In fact, they can be the size of an ant. A bullet ant, specifically. Also known as Paraponera clavataka, the bullet ant sting is rated as the most painful sting on the Schmidt Pain Index. Brazilian tribesmen sometimes have experienced multiple bullet ant stings as a part of their initiation ceremony. While these creatures may be terrifying, let's not leave out the animal that's killed more humans than any other: the human itself. Throughout history, humanity has discovered loads of fun ways to torture, murder, and execute one another. Let's start where we began: the wheel. The breaking wheel, specifically. This medieval method of execution involved the condemned being tied to a wheel and then their limbs being bludgeoned until they broke.
Oh, God.
The mangled body was often left on display. Many times the victim was kept alive for days without food or drink. Next, some humans have had the pleasure of being hanged, drawn, and quartered. Although the death penalty is finally outlawed in Europe back in the day, the Europeans were ridiculously malevolent when it came to handing out punishment. There was no such thing as lethal injection. No way. Prisoners were drawn through the street behind a horse, hanged until just before the point of death, disemboweled, beheaded, and then quartered.
Symbol.
Chopped into 4 pieces, as a civilized execution should take place. Another classic that many, I'm sure, are aware of is crucifixion. This is actually where the word excruciating comes from. Fun fact. The Romans were masters of death and torture. The whole point of crucifixion was to keep the victim alive so they would feel as much pain as possible. Jesus, that sounds awful. Yeah, we did it. Lastly, we have Ling Shi, also known as death by 1,000 cuts. This form of execution was used in China and Vietnam up until the 1900s. Basically, the victim's body was slowly cut into pieces, the intent to keep them alive for as long as possible to increase the pain. Kind of rude, but okay. That does it for physical pain, but there's one more thing we need to talk about. Mental pain. Ranging from depression all the way to PTSD, there's a lot of evidence showing that emotional trauma and pain triggers the same parts of the brain as physical pain. In fact, it's been sometimes shown to trigger the pain regions even more. Psychological distress is one of the worst things a person can experience. So, what's the worst pain you've ever experienced? That is, if you're comfortable talking about it. Maybe let us know in the comments below, or tweet your answers to us at List25. Let's try to keep it clean, though. What's your worst pain?
Definitely the aftermath of Chiari malformation surgery.
Oh, ooh, yeah. I've injured myself so much, I don't even know.
That's true.
Oh, no, I got it. Aside from the rabies shots in the butt and the stomach, that sucked. When I broke my arm, resetting the arm, I'd rather break it again than the resetting. Because when I broke my arm, so you can cut this. You can keep it if it's interesting. This, normally when you break, it's like one or the other. This part of my arm broke upwards. This part of my arm broke downwards. So it was like that. So they had to reset it. It was, yeah. No, it sucked.
I'm cringing over here, guys.
It was probably that. Also, that time I hit a mailbox with my face. That sucked. Enjoying our lists? Be sure to click that subscribe button on the bottom right and the notification bell so you don't miss out on new ones every Monday through Friday. Share them with your friends and help us consistently conciliate curiosity. And if you want even more lists, check out these videos here or just head to our website at list25.com. While you're there, make sure to join our newsletter for exclusive lists, prizes, and so much more. You really don't want to miss out on this.
I've been very lucky in my life that I haven't experienced a lot of pain. When I was younger, I cracked my head open, pretending to be Chicago Bears wide receiver Willie Gault, and I got stitches for that. In my early 20s, I stepped on a toothpick, and I had the toothpick stuck in my foot, and that was absolutely painful. What I'm going through right now, it's not necessarily painful, but it is just frustrating. And maybe for those of you that don't know, and actually I haven't even given an update for it. So maybe I should maybe what I'll do is maybe I'll give a full update later. But let's let you know I'm for those of y'all who may not know, as you can see, I've changed the way I'm using OBS now. Shout out to Maury QHD for letting me know how to kind of do it and everything like that, and I've kind of get this cool now, so I think I'm going to continue with this for the most part. I'll use XSplit for some things in particular, like my rapid reactions or something like this, since I have all of that set up already. But I think this is I think I'm just going to continue with this, do the rest of my videos, my reaction videos, and everything else that I record. But yeah, so anyway, but I've had ever since October, I've kind of had like some tingling and numbness with my fingers and things like that, and so and right now the primarily the primal, I don't know what, the first diagnosis looks to be spinal stenosis, and I'm gonna talk to a neurosurgeon and just make sure and things like that, and then I'll give a full update later. But so with this, what's going on with me right now? The toothpick in the foot, the cracking my head open. I haven't been lucky. I've never broken any bones, never torn any tendons. Um, oh, actually, you know what? Maybe the worst pain I did have, it happened last year or so, about in late 2017. Um, I had this knee, I had arthritis in my knee, and boy, that was just, I called the I could not believe it. So it was really, really painful, and there was some thought that maybe I had some gout, but it was arthritis, and so had to ice it, took some ibuprofen, and it got better. But what that pain was, that I just thought that maybe my kneecap was gone or something. So I just did not know. But yeah, that's what it was, and that might have been actually the worst pain. But I've been lucky. I've never had any major diseases, never broken any bones or anything like that. And like I said, right now, this, kind of what I'm going through has been maybe like the most serious thing I've had, but I've been really lucky. So let me know what you've been through down in the comment section. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching. This is your boy AJ Tripp signing off. Oh, that's right. And don't they always say that a paper cut is the most painful thing? They didn't put that on there, did they? Right? Because they know that shit's bullshit. As always, y'all, be good to each other. Be careful out there. And I am out.